Welcome to the Horse Talk Show.
You never heard of a talking horse?
With your host, Louisa Barton.
I want to be a famous rider. I should like to race.
Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital.
Truth is, I help horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton.
Yeah, baby.
The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honouring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Thank you for joining us on the Horse Talk Show this week, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton. We've got a great show lineup for you this week. After the first segment, which is usually some news and event notifications, we have Dr. Cayot joining us from Peterson and Smith to talk about those pesky eyes that stick so far out of a horse's head. And unfortunately, in the summertime, we see a lot of eye issues with flies. And I know most of you probably got your fly masks on your horses at this time of year, and runniness and itchiness and all sorts of other problems. So Dr. Cayot's going to speak to that particular topic coming up. And then after that, we're going to have a absolutely wonderful lady who is a dear friend. I had an opportunity to go riding with her recently, which was lovely. And that is Letitia Glenn. And she is going to chat to us about how you can make sure that your horse moves the way nature actually intended. And you'd probably be surprised at how many people there are out there who don't realize that their horses aren't really very comfortable at all. And she has the solution. And I know most people think, oh no, that means I have to buy a new saddle. But not necessarily, although you can if you'd like a really nice one. So lots of options, and she's going to kind of share her story with us and how it all began and how this passion that she truly has for the comfort of the horse, for complete and proper and the best performance out of your horse. So I think it's a great topic, and we'll enjoy chatting to her. Going to start off with a little bit of news and events that are going on. We have on October 22nd the Hobby Horse Equestrian Games presented by Everglades Equipment, your local John Deere dealer down there in Leesburg. Thank our supporting sponsors who are helping to make this happen at the Florida Horse Park from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to learn from top equestrians different sports in the horse world. If you've ever been to a horse event and been a bit intimidated because you don't exactly know what's going on and what the rules are and how to compete, we're going to have barrel racing, show jumping, eventing, reining, horse racing, and a polo match. And all of those will be taught by top equestrians in each one of those sports. And then you'll be able to compete from your very own hobby horse. You can bring a hobby horse from home. You can use one of ours, and there'll be a couple of vendor booths where you can actually make a hobby horse of your own. We're also going to have a vendor village, food trucks, an all-breed real horse parade, so not stick horses, although you can take your stick horse in the parade if you'd like. And that's free admission for all ages. There'll be lots of fun things to do as well for all ages, and a great event overall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and that is October 22nd at the Florida Horse Park. So a lot of fun, a great way to learn all about the different breeds that we have in the Marion County area, over 60 to be exact, and also to try competing in the different sports from the safety of a stick horse, so you don't have to worry about falling off a horse yourself or anything. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll definitely have some top equestrians there for you to meet and learn from, as well as a pony corral area where you can really enjoy meeting different breeds, and we'll have a few demos as well with some top horse people. And we've actually got a cute little video we can show you here, I think. When we were at the Florida Horse Park, we got a chance to play a little bit of polo with the Ocala Polo Club on our stick ponies. If we have that video, it'd be great if we could show it. I'll pop it up here for you. This is the CEP team learning polo on stick horses from the Ocala Polo Club. And kind of the end of the day after the parade, we're going to have a polo match. So you get a chance to do this too. And it's quite a lot of fun. It's quite a neat thing to do on stick horses when you find out there's certain lines that you're not supposed to cross, and I think we did when we were learning. But anyway, we're a little green. What can I say? But great fun times. So thanks to the Ocala Polo Club there at the Florida Horse Park for giving us a chance. You can contact me, Louisa, at ocalacep.com if you'd like to be a vendor or if you'd like to participate in the event. Heart of Florida Youth Ranch, one of our local 501c3s. We've been mentioning a horse a week, and we have Stopper here for you. What a beauty. I think it's got a little happy birthday crown on. Might be someone's birthday this week. A gelding, 19 years old, very amicable, loving and caring. You can reach out to Brenda at the Heart of Florida Youth Ranch if you'd like to foster one of the horses in this program. 352-425-0709, and that is Brenda, who runs the equestrian program. This is a program where up to 38 children can stay on premises. These are foster children from a number of different situations, whether that be trafficking situations, drugs, abuse, and I believe there's 29 living on property right now with the horses. There's 8 horses in the program, and these kids get up in the morning and learn farm chores and farm maintenance and feeding and grooming, and then they go to school, and when they come home at night, they feed again. They're learning basic horsemanship skills, taking riding lessons, and the horses are not just a great outlet for them for a number of reasons, and a lot of outdoors and exercise, but also emotional support for these kids. So you can actually foster one of these horses for only $95 a month, and as I said, there's 8. I think there's 5 left that need to be sponsored, including Stopper. And this is a great way for you to support a wonderful 501c3 program and help these kids to keep the horses. And as you know, the Horse Talk Show fostered Buddy, the Tennessee Walker, so we'd love to see the rest of these horses all get fostered, and if we can help out this program, that would be phenomenal. So if you can do your part, that would be great. A couple of other things coming up. We have got Ride for the Cure, which is the 2022 Alzheimer's fundraiser. That's October 7th, 8th and 9th. The Shangri-La Trailhead, which is a beautiful trail. This is a camp out and poker ride, and a lot of fun. Another great benefit, they have this annual fundraiser, and they always do this at a trail, and a lot of fun. Great time if you like a poker ride, and if you like to go camping, this is a great way that you can help them to raise funds for Alzheimer's. So you can actually check them out online, and you can find the event on Facebook as well. And then another near and dear organization for us is Stirrups and Strides Therapeutic Riding. They do an annual event as well, and this year it is the Urban Cowboy Night, and they are going to do that on December the 3rd, and that is going to be at the Stirrups and Strides facility in Citra on Highway 318. There are all kinds of fun activities that night. Their events are always phenomenal. They'll do this under the covered arena, and the event itself is from 5 to 9, and there's going to be some country dancing, and there is an early bird 4 p.m. and you can sponsor a table and sponsor this event. And they're also going to have a Dolly Parton look-alike, diva like Dolly. If you would like to, you can pay $20 to enter, and if you have a little tiny waist, you might do well as Diva the Dolly. This is for the Urban Cowboy Night. And as I said, you can do $20 and you can compete in the Dolly Parton Lookalike Contest at 6:30. And I'm one of the judges, so that could be fun. Good times. We are going to wrap up this segment and we are going to switch up to Dr. Cayot from Peterson and Smith and talk about horses' eyes. Stay with us on the Horse Talk Show.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
With over 70 years of collective experience in the horse industry, Lip Chip was built with integrity by horsemen for horsemen. Introducing the Chip Link system, powered by Lip Chip, where a 15-digit unique ID becomes a key to unlock not only identity, but also health paperwork, owner information, and even photos of each horse. So simple, even a child can do it. The future is here. The future is Lip Chip.
Enhance your horse's performance, fitness, strength, and rehabilitation with state-of-the-art equipment. ETI treadmills offer the finest European engineering, the highest quality filtration, and no chemicals are required. Follow Equine Therapy International on social media or at equinetherapyint.com. Equine Therapy International provides technologically advanced therapy for horses worldwide.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. I'm Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and Equus Television here at Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, chatting to our regular weekly vet in person. I have Dr. Adam Cayot here, and we're going to talk a little bit about horses' eyes. First of all, Dr. Cayot, they stick out.
Yeah, they stick out. That's right. Thus, they're prone to injury. When I got into this profession, I never thought in a million years I'd see as many eye problems as I have. I was lucky, I guess, with my horses. I don't ever recall there being an eye problem. I don't ever recall having a corneal ulcer or anything like that. But I was lucky, obviously. I see probably an eye issue at least once a week, at least. And it can be as minor as just some conjunctivitis or some irritation, especially down here in Florida with the sand. They get down, they roll in the sand, and they get, the eyelids and the area around their eye gets inflamed and upset from that, to, a punctured eye, things that are bad. Punctured eye, stromal abscesses where they have an abscess in the interior of the eye. Sudden blindness. It's amazing how many problems horses can have with their eyes. There can be eye issues can manifest themselves from actual physical trauma, probably the most common, to metabolic issues that the horse deals with, to genetic issues that the horse deals with. They can all manifest themselves in different things that we see with problems with the eyes. If you see your horse holding its eye closed, not holding it open,
it is not winking at you.
It is not winking, and it is an issue. It needs to be seen by a veterinarian probably within the next 24 hours. It's not necessarily an emergency, obviously, unless there's a stick sticking in it or something like that, or it looks particularly bad. But eye issues can go to heck in a handbasket. So you need to be seen. You need to get on top of it. The sooner you get on top of it, the better your chances of a good outcome.
Now, is your first recommended step is maybe a good clean cloth and wipe it, and first of all to see what's going on?
If you can, yeah. I mean, some of them can be
cooperate.
Some of them can be very painful, and they won't let you touch their eye, and then obviously something bad is going on. But certainly, if you can clean the area with a wet washcloth or whatever, and use some eye wash solution that you might even have at home, and try to get a better idea of what's going on, so that you can tell your veterinarian, hey, this is what I see, that all that information is useful. And so certainly if you can do that, that's a great place to start.
And usually when you have an issue and you're trying to figure out what's going on, obviously you've got the veterinarian come. How does the veterinarian discover what it is, like whether it's an ulcer or not? Or
well, we try to do as thorough exam as we can. Typically, your regular house, farm call veterinarian is not an ophthalmologist, but we have enough knowledge to say, hey, I don't know what's going on. I need to refer this to an ophthalmologist. But typically, we can do a pretty thorough exam on the eye, even just with a bright light. I typically just use my cell phone light. I don't necessarily have an ophthalmoscope, though some veterinarians may have an ophthalmoscope. If you do a good physical exam or exam of the eye, just visually, number one. Number two, I generally put a stain on the cornea, so that'll give you some indications. Are there some lesions there that you might not be able to see with the naked eye? And then you just kind of go from there. You take how painful is this horse. A lot of things you can see. You can see cataracts. You can see stromal abscesses. You can see ulcers if you stain them. Certainly, and if the horse is just irritated and there's no stain uptake, then you say, okay, it's probably conjunctivitis. Or if there's no swelling around the conjunctiva, then you think, is there some kind of other inflammation that's going on in the eye, like moon blindness or something like that? Typically, we can gain a lot of information from doing just a general physical exam on the eye with the staining and that sort of thing. Probably 95% of them I can treat at home with meds that we can provide from the truck. Eyes can be labor intensive. Typically, we end up having to treat these horses 4 to 6 times a day, and that goes through the night typically. So if you have a bad issue and you need to put a catheter in the eye, those horses are being treated throughout the night. So sleep for the owner can be at a premium. Yes. And so that's why I say get on them early. Don't just, he'll be okay tomorrow, that kind of thing, because your chances are much better and a better outcome if you jump on these things sooner rather than later.
Now, sometimes we unfortunately see one-eyed horses. At what point would a horse need to lose its eye if there was a problem, and what would cause that?
Well, it can be caused by trauma, an ulcer that you just can't get. Sometimes we lose the battle. It doesn't matter. An ulcer, a stromal abscess. I tell people when I get a stromal abscess, which is an abscess in the stromal layer of the eye, there's layers of the eye, it's 50% chance that you save the vision and the eyeball right out the bat. So that's the best percentage you have. Wow. If you can't control the pain, if you can't control the problem or get the problem better, then enucleation is a viable option. Horses typically deal well with enucleation. Just because of their eyes, they can see, fairly far over in front of them with the good eye. So that's good. It is a bit of a cosmetic defect that people don't necessarily like, and I totally understand that, but it's better than a painful horse and one that's truly suffering when you can help that out.
And we've certainly seen very successful sport horses in all sports that have lost an eye and still been, look at good old Patch, who did so well in the racing world.
Yeah, that's right. The only sport that I know of that can't compete with 2 eyes is polo. Polo horses need to have both their eyes. But pretty much dressage, jumping, racing, I can't think, reining, any of those horses can do just fine with one eye and be very successful. So, it's not necessarily the end of any career or anything like that unless you're a polo horse.
Now, this is a beautiful place to be here in Ocala. We love Marion County, but we do have a lot of sand, and in the summer, and even sometimes in the winter, we have a lot of flies. So I'm sure that plays into us having maybe more eye problems than, for example, in England, I don't remember growing up having any eye problems.
Yeah, Florida's a petri dish for possible eye problems. So we have lots of flies, which irritate the eyes, and the horses then rub in their eyes. We also live in this subtropical climate where molds and fungus and things like that love to grow, which can get in the eyes and cause all kinds of problems. And then we have sand and that sort of thing. So certainly, there are a lot of possible insults in this climate to eyes, and that is probably part of the reason why we see so many problems. But fungal issues are a big issue. Those are hard to control. They get a hold of an eye. It's very hard to get a control of those, to treat those, and get a positive outcome.
Right, absolutely. And then the 4 to 6 times a day, that can be tough, but that's important, right?
Absolutely. It is important because, and it is hard. It's very hard to have compliance. So if you're an owner and you have somebody that can help you, that's awesome. We do have places that take layups that, you can pay somebody to do that, which,
that might be the easy way.
That's definitely a good option for a lot of people, and they're thankful for that. But it's important to have those medications in at the proper times with the proper distance in between. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you, Dr. Adam Cayot. Talking about eyes, it's definitely a horse problem. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, and our broadcast sponsor, Larson Farms. Also, thank you to supporting sponsors, DAC Vitamins and Minerals, Seminole Feed Stores, Piranha, TT Distributors, and Midnight Rose Equestrian.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
If you're tired of the rigors of keeping your horse's water troughs clean and free of algae, you need the Drinking Post Waterer, an automatic waterer for horses, livestock and cattle. Field tested for over 40 years. The Drinking Post Waterer is the gold standard of non-electric automatic waterers. Check them out on Facebook or find them on the web at dpwaterer.com.
Horses! Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our TV broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton, host and executive producer of the Horse Talk Show. In the studio in downtown Ocala, the horse capital of the world. I have a very special guest in the studio with us today, Letitia Glenn. Letitia, thank you so much for joining us. It's such an honor to have you and all of our goodies here to look at while we're doing the show today. I want to thank you for a lovely ride just a couple of weeks ago. You took me on your amazing, wonderful Flash, who is such a dear and such a sweetheart, and for sharing your story with us for the equine section of the Ocala magazine, which turned out beautiful. But if you didn't read that, Letitia's going to kind of give us a little rundown of her horse life. Tell us how you kind of got involved in horses in the first place.
Well, first of all, I'm honored to be here, Louisa. You see a lot in and around this town and around the world, and I'm intrigued that you're intrigued by my mission.
That's right.
My mission. My team and I are absolutely passionate about doing all we can now that we've done the research we have and developed the tools and methodologies we have doing all we can to help people understand how they can keep their horses more comfortable under saddle, easier than they thought. But first they need to recognize what it is their horses might be telling them about their experience. And your question was, how did I get involved in this? I guess it started when I read Walter Farley's The Black Stallion in the 3rd grade. I can remember the wallpaper on my grandmother's cottage. I can remember devouring every page, and I got hooked in the heart with the idea of having a horse. And I had a chance to ride other people's horses along the way, but never had a chance to have one in my life that was mine till I was 47 years old. And someone gave me a Pasofino stallion, 2-year-old, and I thought, oh, I can train dogs pretty well. This ought to be easy. And I didn't die. He was gelded soon after, but I just loved everything about just being close to a horse. And a couple of years later, met some people who helped me realize that I didn't quite know as much as I thought I did about how to look at things from the horse's point of view. And that was Pat and Linda Pirelli, whose work we discovered when we were in Germany, my husband and I. And we were amazed by what they were doing over there. And then coming back here to the United States, and they built their first center out in Colorado and stayed with us while they were looking for some property. And we became more and more intrigued about the concept of looking at things from the horse's point of view. And one day Linda said to me in the year 2000, you know, saddles are torture devices. And I thought, well, not mine. I hauled my horse over 3 mountain passes to get his backs measured by the best in the business, to have the trees made for his saddle and my husband's horse saddle. And we knew the best saddle makers in the world. I won't bother with the story why, but we had the finest saddles that could be made. But when Linda said that, it struck me, and I noticed that my horse was not able to travel while he was carrying even just the saddle, let alone me. He wasn't able to travel, obviously, as comfortably as he was when he was in the pasture playing by himself. And I just got fascinated with it, and I wondered what could we do to make it better for him. And then it just snowballed. And with Linda Pirelli and Pat, we started working with saddle makers when we couldn't find saddles that welcomed the horse's body in motion. Because when a horse is standing and the back is down, it's down horizontally, and it's down, the slopes off the spine are different than from the moment they take their first step.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you mentioned Linda Pirelli, because I have so much respect for Linda. I think she's an amazing horsewoman, yes, and an amazing person. But to think that she said back then, saddles are torture devices, is a kind of a big eye-opener, because when I think of when I was a little girl growing up in England, it didn't matter whether I was on this pony or this horse or one in between. That same saddle that I rode went from pony to horse because it fit me, but we didn't think, what's it doing? Because we didn't have options. It was, they were all pretty much the same, you know. There were ones that were more expensive, but they weren't necessarily more comfortable. So I can remember thinking, this saddle doesn't look very comfortable. It wasn't even comfortable really for me, but it fit me. So when I think of somebody like Linda Pirelli with all of her influence and knowledge saying that back then about saddles, that has to have been a big eye-opener, like, wow. You know, if Linda Pirelli doesn't have the answer immediately to that, then who does, you know, really?
I could not believe it. And who knows why we get hooked deeply in the heart and begin a path, but it became my path and my life's mission really quite quickly, and that was over 20 years ago. And with Linda, I learned to observe all the little things that horses were communicating. It's obvious when you see the expression on their faces, or you start to notice tension along the top line, and inefficient biomechanics in so many ways. Choppy strides, a ride that's rougher than it needs to be, hind ends that are strung out, so much weight on the forehand, just inverted posture and stiff, tense way of going. Compared to when you have saddle equipment that welcomes that lifting and expanding, it's more like a hug of an equipment, and then the rider can really be in harmony.
Right.
With
well, when you think about horses in the wild, in nature, and they're just able to move completely freely and run across the plains and up the mountains, and they don't have anything on them or around them, and they're able to run completely comfortably, and as long as they're sound, obviously they're able to move. But when you start to think about what we add, just even when you go back to Native Americans who rode the horses without a saddle, and you even think about that as a, obviously more comfortable than our old-fashioned tack for sure. Yeah. But when you think about that, and then we take them to another level, we begin to tack them up and put extra things, which have to somewhat reduce their ability to move naturally. So what I was so fascinated by when I came to write the story for Ocala magazine about you was your tagline, the way so that horses can move the way nature intended. And that was kind of how the story was, because to me, the closer we can get back to what horses were able to do when they ran without us on their backs has to be better. Right.
The equipment plays the part. Of course, we as riders have a responsibility to help balance ourselves independently so that the horse doesn't have to recalibrate himself every time he takes a step, even in comfortable equipment. If a rider doesn't do his or her part, it makes it hard for the horse. But yeah, these are animals who certainly feel a fly on a hair in a windstorm. How could we not think about how impactful it would be to strap a trap on? Whoopsie daisy. Strap a trap on their back rather than strap a hug of a hug.
A hug.
Yeah.
Yes, to feel hugged.
Yeah.
That sound was that we have to wrap up this segment, but we're going to have Letitia with us for the next two, so we're going to talk a little bit more, and we're going to share some of this with you when we return on the Horse Talk Show. Stay with us.
Current equine microchips can migrate by up to 30%, causing difficulty when scanning. With over 70 years of collective horse industry experience, LipChip offers a new, more effective method of microchipping, partnering with veterinarians and technology experts to ensure humane and practical microchipping. LipChip was built by horsemen for horsemen. Nowadays, the performance horse industry is in need of both integrity and transparency. LipChip is the future of horse microchipping, with cutting-edge technology functional for every discipline. Find LipChip on social media, and for more information, lipchipllc.com. The future is here. The future is LipChip.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now, or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Centre Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs, EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Centre now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com. The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations, with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honoring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show.
You never heard of a talking horse? Well, listen to this.
With your host, Louisa Barton.
What does it feel like to be in love with a horse?
Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience.
Back in the saddle again.
Now, here's your pretty Louisa Barton.
You're fab, you're switched on, you're a bit of all right. Yes. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Back on the second half of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our TV broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton in the studio with Letitia Glenn, and we have been talking a little bit of her background, kind of how she got involved in the horse world later in life, loved horses her whole life, got involved later in life, and met the Pirellis through a visit they had to Colorado, or Germany actually originally, right? Mm-hmm. And kind of how they encouraged her on her path to being so passionate about how comfortable horses are while under tack. And having been out to her farm and visited and really kind of learnt some of the background of all of this, it makes sense to me as a lifelong horse owner that a lot of times I think we fit saddles to people. I worked in a tack store for years where I fit saddles for people, and even how we fit saddles when the horse is standing still. But what about when the horse starts moving? And that was the interesting part that you shared, very interesting part you shared with me out at the farm, looking kind of at the bone structure of horses. Can you share a little bit with us?
The bone structure of horses, what we began to realize is that just as you would actually, if you had a book in your backpack that was bothering you, you would contort yourself to get out of the way of the pressure and discomfort of it. And when you contort yourself in one area of your body, you're going to be throwing something out in the other. For instance, if a horse is pinched in the shoulders, one shoulder more than the other, say it's the left, his right hind will suffer more than the left hind, and things become out of balance, and the skeleton itself actually can get rearranged. All these bones are connected with soft tissue, right?
Right.
And the primary bone we learned to pay real attention to, that we can see. I'm passionate now about helping people understand how easy it is to just protect shoulder range of motion of your horse and what a difference it makes. We have not only saddles that have become part of our mission equipment, and we have over 10,000 saddles out there in service, which is something I'm very proud of after 20 years. But it's the interface, it's the pad and shims that people can manage far less expensively that help keep any saddle more comfortable than it would be, because you take care of preserving. This is a scapula of a little short horse, but most big Dutch warm bloods and whatnot would have a scapula much longer, with a moon of cartilage on the end of it, which so often gets squeezed and pinched and trapped. When the horse reaches forward, the scapula must swing back, and it must swing. We don't have the saddles convenient here. It must swing deep underneath the saddle, but most saddles lock down behind it while the horse is standing, so this action doesn't happen. And when this doesn't happen, everything else begins to go wrong.
That is so true. And actually, I think we've got some great graphics of yours that we can share if you're joining us on TV or Facebook, that we can actually share with you here.
This is a primary responsibility of any rider. Know where the back edge of your horse's scapula is while he's standing. Feel it with your fingertips. And then lift the leg and feel the bulge that happens, and know where the back end of that bulge is, because that's the back end of the scapula while your horse is in motion. Wow. If you don't lift pressure off of that action, you're causing your horse discomfort without realizing it. Now here's a horse who's trapped by his equipment. Clearly, without even knowing much, you can see that. See how inverted he is? See how much he's pounding on the forehand? His fetlocks are almost all the way down into the dirt. That poor little horse, his head and neck look very short. They're up high. His ears are not happy, clearly. The tail head is very, very high. I was going to say the tail's very unhappy. Yeah. You can see the tension in his body and along his top line, and his underline is pulling him along. That's not the way a horse is made to travel.
No, not nature. Comfortable at all.
We changed equipment. Literally, this woman who had ridden that horse for thousands of miles on endurance races and whatnot in that other equipment, luckily was curious to come and test ride one of our saddles. And so after watching her go around, and I took that picture of the tense horse, we put our equipment on her, and literally this is the first trip around the arena, and you can see the moment she walked off, I encouraged her, of course, to go off in a loose rein. Don't hold tight and worry about him running off like you normally have to worry about, because he's so uncomfortable in his other equipment. He tried to run out from under it most of the time. So anyway, on the loose rein, the horse immediately drops its head, rounds its top line, breathed a big sigh, and went off looking much more rhythmic, longer strided, softer footfalls. I tell you, it makes me cry every time. It really does.
I'm not surprised. Look how it's like a different horse. I wouldn't even know it's the same horse if you didn't tell me he's got a totally different attitude and mindset too.
You wouldn't believe it unless you've experienced it yourself, and I'm thrilled to share that experience with people. I love doing saddle makeovers, and here in the Ocala area, I'm just if anyone comes to spend time with me, I don't even charge you. I want you to feel it. I want to see the big brown soft eye of your horse in comfort. This is a picture I found that kind of shows you the bulge of muscle as the horse reaches his leg forward. And you can imagine if the saddle prevented that, how uncomfortable that would be, but how everything else happens that would be so damaging over time.
Yeah, and you know what I said in the prior segment, just so important when you think about how all this goes against how they move naturally. Yeah. So you've got to make them as comfortable as possible.
Yeah. So I try to help people understand just some basic things to assess whether or not a horse is not comfortable. If their head is held high and nodding up, if they're under tracking and their hind end is stretched out behind. We have a whole long list. And by the way, we have free saddle fit evaluations on our website, contoursaddlery.com. There's an example of a horse that over time has carried riders in equipment that didn't let him move naturally. You see how his head and neck look short?
Yes.
His under neck looks a little bulgy, where his top line looks too skinny. He's got a hole behind the scapula there because that muscle couldn't develop because the scapula couldn't swing back. Right. The hips are too angled rather than nice and round and rumpy. That's a quarter horse right there. You'd never know it.
You wouldn't, bless him.
And that horse will eventually break down if he's not refit, at least with a good pad and shim interface with his saddle to help him take pressure off where there shouldn't be pressure.
Yeah, that guy needs
and get his weight on his hind
some relief.
More.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So interestingly, having ridden a gaited horse for years myself, I cannot tell you how much the shoulder movement mattered to him because as a Tennessee walker, he actually had a very large, long stride.
Exactly.
And he actually had a lot of range of motion, more than any quarter horse I ever rode. Yeah. And a different saddle could make him lame.
Yes.
Because he was unable to compensate in the front for the back, and so he would actually go lame in the back because if he wasn't able to move that shoulder out. So for me, I can clearly remember what changing to a new saddle that didn't fit him properly would do. So I can more than relate to that, seeing that. So that means that we only have less than a minute. But fortunately, we have Letitia with us for one more segment. So we're going to cover a little bit more on the saddles and a little bit more on the pads. And we'll be back with you on the Horse Talk Show in just a minute. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Palm Chevrolet, and broadcast sponsor, Larson Farms. Also, thank you to supporting sponsors, Equine Therapy International, Nirvana Medical Spa, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, Summit Joint Performance, and Equine.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, where the entire team is committed to making your experience in sales and service hassle-free and easier than ever with no games or gimmicks. Come in and visit on Southwest College Road or online at palmchevrolet.com. A second-to-none experience with all the amenities. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options, offering prejuvenation for younger clients and rejuvenation for all ages. Nirvana knows you want to look your very best, but we've all seen people with the telltale signs of too much work. We want you to look like you, just better, brighter and younger, with all the newest and best in technology and all in the most beautiful surroundings. Like Nirvana Medical Spa on Facebook and find them on the web at nirvanamedicalspa.com. Become a better, brighter and younger you. Piranha, your trusted leader in insect control for 50 years. The official fly spray for World Equestrian Centre. From the strongest water-based equine spray in the blue bottle to the familiar and long-time favourite in the yellow bottle. Wipe and spray, we've got you covered. If you're looking for effective plant-based fly spray, then look for our Zero Bite in the green bottle. Check us out online at piranhainc.com. That's Pyranha, piranhainc.com, to learn more about Piranha's entire family of products. Piranha, it works.
My name is Dr. Natalie Solomon. I formulated Equine with cutting-edge science and technology alongside the passion that is represented by a lifelong love of horses. I created a product that I would trust for my horses because they deserve nothing but the best for their bodies. Horses rely on us to take care of them, to love them, to respect them. This is how Equine came to life. Equine, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton in the studio. We have been chatting to Letitia Glenn, and we've been talking about making horses comfortable under tack and how important that is to performance, overall wellness for your horse. And we truly love our horses, and you can truly see Letitia's passion to do this. So we're actually going to show you a video, I believe, that is coming right up here. If you're watching on television, you can see this, or on Facebook. We're going to talk a little bit about the difference of a horse still and in motion.
Right. So often, traditional saddle makers will build a saddle to fit a horse's profile. Here I am with this Andalusian here. You can see he has quite the slung back. But when I tickle his belly, you can see how high he's capable of coming up. So if you build a saddle that fits that curve, there's no way when he moves that he's going to be able to power up under a dressage rider or something. There'd be no room. The saddle would block it. So with our saddles, we build them a bit flatter. We never build them to fit the horse's sloping shoulder. You want them larger than the sloping shoulder. It doesn't even need to be the angle of the shoulder, but boy, that's a That's fighting tradition, and until you try our system, you wouldn't believe that. But this hug has to happen to the body that happens when they move, okay? And in addition to the saddle itself, we have a lot of interface tools. This is one we've developed. This one sucks in its own air. These are miniature camping mattresses. These are our air pads. These are just a brilliant piece of auto-dynamic, auto-adjusting equipment. But say on this saddle pad, for instance, we would make sure we know where the scapula is going to swing under the front of the saddle, and inside these pockets we would put, say, a shim like this, which is, people say shims like it's a bad thing. I'm telling you, shims are magical tools. Our particular shims are very, very special foam. They have just the right amount of support and squish, we say. They are tapered, so they transition along your horse's body. So if you had a shoulder shim like this, you can imagine how that would lift pressure off. Where's that camera? Lift pressure off this action by just a little bit, and it makes a tremendous difference.
Tremendous difference.
Yeah, and then if you need to rebalance the rider's seat, if that lifts your saddle up a little too far, then we have shims that would fit the rear to do that. There we go. We have 3 different shapes in these molds, and they all kind of feather together and taper. They overlap and don't have ridges. It's not like normal
they
shims.
feel really nice.
They
do.
They're light, and they squish just enough, but they support just enough, and that's all it takes to lift pressure off the working action, or support where your horse might have. Your saddle might have a little rock in it because the saddle maker has built it to fit the curve, and the horse wants to come up flat. So if you use these as wedges to mitigate that curve, it'll make a tremendous difference for your horse. But we have free saddle fit evaluations on contoursaddlery.com, so you could send us pictures and we could offer you advice about how to make sure your equipment is fitting well. And if you care to take a test ride and know what true magic is, you're available for that.
Then you can.
But our mission is to make the world a better place for horses by empowering riders to know that it's really quite simple to take care of some basic needs.
So aside from having the most beautiful saddles in the world, and having 10,000 saddles out there being loved, and horses loving being ridden with them, aside from that, if you have a saddle already that you really love, and you fit it really well, and you don't want to buy a new saddle right now, and maybe you only just bought a saddle and now you see the show and you go, oh, I wish I'd bought one of her saddles instead. It's not the end of the world, because you've got the pads and you've got the shims to solve the problem, even if you love your saddle and your horse doesn't, right?
Some people take the shims and put a piece of Velcro on them and use it on their traditional pads, and until they try some of this other equipment to know that it can take it to the next level. That's better than nothing.
Right.
So do it, and we'll give you free advice to know how to do it. We want people to feel empowered, that it is easy. I'm really excited to tell you, I don't know if I've told you, that Ty Murray, who rides our saddles and tells me quite regularly he thinks it's the finest saddle he's ever ridden in his life, and that this interface system is brilliant. And I say, you're a cowboy and you're taking time to do shims? He said, yes. I don't know why everyone isn't. I guess it's their horses that are hurting, not them, and that's why they're not taking the time. But he loves it, and he has invited me to come out and present at the...
You did tell me that. That's so exciting. Yes.
At the Montana Horsemanship Center, that's in coordination with the University of Montana, or Montana University, and they offer Bachelor of Science degrees in Natural Horsemanship. And they're having a big symposium and film festival there, and Buck Brannaman will be a speaker, and Dr. Robert Miller, and Ty Murray, and who's who of horsedom, and me.
And you. How exciting.
Because it was actually Ty who invited. He said, I want you to help them realize that changing the world is what we must do.
Well, that's incredible to get endorsements from someone like Ty Murray. That's going to be real exciting. And the Pirellis, of course, as well. And your beautiful saddles, the Western. This I love with the little
That's our
heart.
new heart horse saddle. Everyone has a heart horse, right?
That's right.
You rode mine. I was proud
I did.
to watch you riding my heart horse.
I loved Flash.
And you can order different colors on your heart. That's
brilliant.
But that's a brilliant feeling saddle. That's
Yes.
a new prototype. You have to ride it next time.
Yes, lovely, beautiful, comfortable saddles. So as I said, you can certainly buy these saddles, and they're gorgeous and they're comfortable for you and the horse. But if you're not, you've got options of pads. So and yes, I love this.
This is going to be our new office here in Ocala, and you'll be able to test ride saddles right here in Ocala, and
right there in
really
the Good
excited.
Apple Plaza there on
and
Airport Road.
we have a store in Montana, in Ennis, Montana. Gretchen Furlong runs that store out there. Gretchen Furlong, isn't that a great name?
It's a great name.
For a gal with me in the saddle business.
And then we have a special discount for Horse Talk Show listeners.
We do. If you remember the code, Horse Talk Show, you'll be able to go on our website, and anything you order using that code will be a 5% discount to you.
Very nice.
And so that's a new system we've been able to do with our website for a very few special people. And so I thought, you have to be one of them.
So I think
Horse
that's just
Talk
amazing.
Show.
Horse Talk Show for a discount
When you check
now.
out on the website.
And your new store will be open when? Do you have a date?
In September.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to actually meet Letitia in person, go by,
Please
visit, sit in some saddles, and ask all sorts of questions, which is absolutely wonderful. I love that not only are your products exceptional, and not only your saddles are beautiful, but your passion and obviously your love for the horse and putting the horse's comfort first, because I think so often the attitude and the performance is affected so much by the tack, and if the horse isn't comfortable, you're not going to get the most out of your horse at all.
And people don't know. People don't know when they're not comfortable, and that's what I want to heighten awareness about. There's a lot of education material on our Contour Saddlery website. If you go down through the Why Rethink Saddle Fit, maybe you could learn something. And if you know you have a fit problem, let us know. Maybe we can help. I know we can help you. Not maybe.
I know.
I am so confident we can help you, and it's a thrill. It's the joy of my life.
It is. Letitia Glenn, it's such an honor to have you with us.
Thank you,
We have
Lisa.
to close this segment out. Please find her on all her social media outlets and check out her website. She is a miracle worker, no doubt. We'll be back with Matt Palmer in just a minute. Stay with us. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Palm Chevrolet, and broadcast sponsor, Larson Farms. Also, thank you to supporting sponsors, Equine Therapy International, Nirvana Medical Spa, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, Summit Joint Performance, and Equigreen.
Hi, I'm Alan Davies with Equine Therapy International. Today we're at Engineered Equine Performance, celebrating the new saltwater chilled treadmill. This particular chilled equine saltwater treadmill is a game changer. As you can see, the finest materials are used. The filtration system, coarse, fine filtration, no chemicals. We use UV, ozone, combination of filtration to keep the highest water chemistry standards. Being a saltwater unit, only the finest stainless steel and materials are used. That's important when it comes to longevity and cost of service over the life of the unit. This unit also has integrated massage jets with fine bubbles and coarse air bubbles for the therapy. The control system on this is Siemens industrial grade, top of the line technology, straight from Germany, but also serviceable here in the US.
World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Center Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs, EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Center now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
This show is brought to you in part by Summit Joint Performance, promoting a healthy, thick synovial fluid, decreasing inflammation in the joints and improving the cushioning properties of the cartilage pads. All age horses can benefit from Summit Joint Performance.
Maria Lacasse of Midnight Rose Equestrian's background is in natural horsemanship and dressage principles, with a main focus on maintaining a balance of communication and correct biomechanics between horse and rider. Come to her farm, or she'll come to yours. Allow Maria to help you and your horse to unwind and balance to increase performance so that you can both be the best you can be together to build a lifelong partnership of success. Maria Lacasse of Midnight Rose Equestrian is a graduate of the Equine Natural Movement School for Equine Structural Integration and a Florida School of Massage graduate. Find Midnight Rose Equestrian on social media and on the web at midnightroseequestrian.com and book your massage for your horse and you right away.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. I'm Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show, here at the World Equestrian Centre today for the North American Reining Stakes. And we have the pleasure of chatting to Matt Palmer from Palmer Performance Horses in New York. Lots of wins to your name, pretty impressive in the top 20 professional NRHA for reining, pretty amazing qualifications. And one of the things that I want to start by asking you, for many of our listeners who don't know a lot about reining, is just to tell us about the sport of reining and why you love it and what drew you to it.
Oh, wow. Reining. It's a sport that you have to be one with your horse so much. But then it has that dynamic feel of when, like when we're running our large, fast circles, and they have to stay in between our hands and legs and be so willfully guided where we can't move our hand at all. And then to be able to come down in such a slow lope, and then the crowd erupts and that horse staying underneath you to our turnarounds, that dynamic turn, and you hit it right on and you can feel the building shake underneath you and that horse stands still. Just everything that goes into the preparation to running down and stopping, and you run down and you stop and that thing can slide 40 feet and we roll back. And when the crowd erupts, and how all that practice that you do at home makes those 4 minutes that you're in there, when that ride goes perfect, there's nothing like it to be one with an animal that had its own mind, its own way of thinking, and you two just go together and blend for this 4 minutes that you're in there. It's an incredible feeling, and I think that's what's got me so addicted to it.
Tell us a little bit about one of the things I read on your website that I was really impressed by is how serious you are about the safety of the horse, the well-being of the horse, and the longevity of the horse in this career. Obviously, to a non-reiner, watching the horse in action might be concerning. Yeah. So can you speak to that a little bit for those that might be concerned?
Yes. I put it in terms like this. I think the reining horse is equivalent to the new NFL football player. So look at all the safety protocols NFL does to protect our athletes. Well, the same thing goes for us. The reason that we're doing this, the reason that we're even in this sport in reining was what was the number one thing. Why? Because we love horses. We just love being around horses and love working with horses. So now that we're asking them to do a sport that they're very physically capable of doing because of how we have them bred and things that we've done, now the care goes into it. So the care is such a big thing, I think, for us to take care of them because they give so much of what we ask them to do and how physically gifted these animals are. But it does put, it puts work on them. So the more that I think that we can take care of them and make them feel good, I feel they reciprocate that. And I think that's what is the start of being a very good horseman, as we call it.
Now, when you start out teaching a young new rider, is one of the toughest things that you face is that lead changes?
Yes, because that's a mechanical. A lot of times when we turn around, you can stick. I have a couple football players that come ride with me, NFL football players back home, and they can sit to a horse and they've rode, but like the turnaround, you can lay the rein and it just kind of turns and does it on its own. You kind of tell them to, if they have to in the very beginning, hold on to the horn and say, whoa, the horse is going to stop. But lead changes is one of those things that, just like English or dressage or any of those disciplines, that you have to be a little bit technical with it. So that probably takes the most time, and that's probably something, as when we're teaching somebody the sport of reining, that's something that until they can kind of get the basics, we probably don't focus on that.
So here's reining for dummies question here. How about dizziness? Person and horse to start with? Is that a problem?
I have years ago, dizziness, I've been riding reiners since I was 5. So, I mean, you kind of got used to it. I got to start at a young age, so I didn't get to face that as some other people have had. But I actually had a horse that was it was a 3-year-old. And I swear, after this horse would turn more than 6 times, it would just get wobbly and dizzy and just kind of ready to fall down. And it was only after 6 turns, but the dizziness does come around, and there's been some comical times where somebody gets done turning at home and you think they were on a roller coaster. So yeah, it's a fun part, and it's really neat to see the people get to enjoy our sport of reining like that, because it really is such an amazing thing when you're riding these animals, and to have that thing be so connected when you turn around like that. Sometimes it's mind-boggling to the outside world that these animals can do that.
So what do you think about this competition this week? Has it been fantastic here?
Oh my gosh, I just flew in last night. The facility is incredible. It took me probably 20 minutes to find the stalls because of how big the place was. But I just think it's amazing that we can share our sport. And, I would love to go over and see the Grand Prix jumping, just this place, the facility, the people that it's brought in all over our sport. I just think it's a wonderful thing for this place, and hopefully there's many years of being able to do it here.
Absolutely. So I'm going to read this because it's too much for me to remember. So Santa Hill Ranch is home to Palmer Performance Horses, headed up, of course, by you. You're a 5-time NRHA world champion, and you're in the top 20 professional, run for the million qualified, 2 times USEF gold medalist, over 700,000 in lifetime earnings, and a rising star for sure. Do you have a bucket list, or did you accomplish it all already?
Oh, no, I think I'm at 760 now. My goal is to get to be $1 million rider before I was 40. So I'm chasing that goal this year. Our big dance is coming up. The run for $1 million in Vegas is it's about to happen in 2 weeks here. We leave next week for Vegas. So this is really fun to be here. And show at this level and do what we're doing for the amount of, they put up a great amount of money here. But this my next bucket list is this run for $1 million. I can't wait. So it's kind of what you're working for. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That's amazing. Last question, shout out for family and team.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't be here without my wife, my mom, Santa Hill, Bob and Arlene, the whole Palmer Performance Horses crew. I have an amazing, amazing group of customers. I am so blessed to have the people I have behind me. So without the folks behind you, you're nowhere. So you know what? I'm the last piece of the puzzle that gets to, get to do all these fun things, is sitting here with you. But really, it's all the people behind me. So all the people behind me know who they are, and I wouldn't be here without them. So I'm truly blessed.
Phenomenal. Well, we wish you the very best in Vegas. That's very exciting. We'll be following you. We'll say we know that guy when you win.
Hopefully we don't let them down. It's definitely a moment that I'll never forget, and I hope I can soak the whole thing in. So it should be fun.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's Matt Palmer, Palmer Performance Horses. We wish him the very best. We're here at World Equestrian Centre, and I'm Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and Equus Television. That was Matt Palmer. Thank you very much to Shannon Rafus and the Rafus family for inviting us out to the North American Reining Stakes and having a chance to chat to some top people in the reining world. It was really wonderful, so thank you for that. We're actually at the end of the show. It flew by. Letitia Glenn, wow, you're got us all mind boggled. It's amazing. It's phenomenal, and I'm so happy that your passion for horses has made such a difference in the world.
Thank you for including me, and I look forward to riding with you again. And
Very
everybody
soon.
take care of your horse's shoulder. That's a big step.
Yes, that's
Also,
huge. That's huge.
There
Don't
you
forget the Hobby Horse Equestrian Games. Have that on your calendar at the Florida Horse Park on October 22nd from 10 to 4. Free admission for all ages. That's going to be a lot of fun with a wonderful horse parade. Vendor Village. You get to try all the equestrian sports from the safety of a stick horse. Don't forget the Horse Talk Show discount code for Letitia for her anything that you purchase online. And whether you're in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world or not, happy horsing around. Till the same time next week.